Had just taken off my wedding dress when I felt his hand on my back. It wasn't my husband's. It was his best friend's. And in that moment, I didn't step away. I leaned in. I'm Alyssa. Welcome to Lust and Lies. This is my confession of regret. Our wedding day felt like something out of a dream. The golden sunlight on the beach, the laughter of our families, the clinking of glasses, everything looked perfect. People said I looked radiant, that I was glowing. Maybe I was. Maybe it was the dress, or the makeup, or the champagne, but deep down, I felt like I was floating above it all, watching my life from a distance. Ryan, my husband, was charming that day. Everyone adored him. He gave speeches. He made people laugh. He cried when I walked down the aisle. But somehow I felt alone. Even with the diamond ring on my finger, even with all eyes on me, Jason was different. He always had been. Ryan's best friend since college. He was the kind of man who walked into a room and made it heavier. With presence, with eyes that looked through you, not at you. There had always been a quiet tension between us. Something we never spoke of. Something I tried to ignore. During the reception, I caught him watching me more than once. It wasn't casual. It wasn't innocent. It was deliberate, measured. His gaze lingered when Ryan turned away. I should have felt disgusted or offended, but I didn't. I felt something tighten in my chest. A heat that had nothing to do with the warm summer air. The guests danced. The drinks flowed. Ryan moved from group to group, hugging people, laughing. Every time I reached for his hand, someone pulled him away. I smiled for the photos. I thanked the guests. But all I really wanted was to escape. When the band played the final song, I leaned in and kissed Ryan. He kissed me back, gentle and brief, before being swept away again by his best man and another cousin who wanted one last photo. I slipped away, upstairs, to the bridal suite, alone. The room smelled of roses and ocean breeze. Candles flickered. My heels were off. The dress was heavy. I unzipped it slowly, letting it fall around my ankles. I stood in front of the mirror, still wearing my veil, still wearing the smile I had practiced. But inside, I felt hollow. Then came the knock. I froze. My heart raced. I pulled on the silk robe from the bathroom and walked to the door. I opened it just a crack. Jason stood there. No jacket, top buttons undone, tie loose, 2 glasses of champagne in hand. I figured you might need this, he said. I didn't answer. I didn't move. I just opened the door wider. He stepped in like he belonged there, like he had every right. We sat on opposite sides of the room. The silence between us was thick. He handed me the glass. To the bride, he said, clinking it gently against mine. I drank too fast. He watched me with that same unreadable expression. Then he said it. You looked beautiful today. Thanks, I replied, voice dry. No, I mean, not just beautiful, powerful, untouchable. I laughed. I don't feel that way. You should. We talked about the ceremony, about the guests, about nothing. But the words were just noise. We both knew why he was there, and why I let him stay. After a while, he stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the ocean. I remember the first time I met you, he said quietly. So do I. You were wearing that red dress. Ryan couldn't stop talking about you. But I saw you first. He turned, looked right at me, and in that moment the air disappeared from the room. He took a slow step toward me, and I didn't move. Another step. Still, I didn't stop him. He was standing right in front of me now, close enough for me to smell the sea salt on his skin, the faint trace of cologne, the scent of wine on his breath. I looked up at him. He looked down at me, and I swear the silence between us started to hum. I shouldn't be here, he said. Then why are you? He didn't answer. His fingers brushed a strand of hair from my face, tucked it behind my ear. It was such a small gesture, so simple, but it lit something in me that I hadn't felt in months, maybe years. I closed my eyes. He leaned in, and when our lips met, I didn't pull away. I leaned into it. The kiss was slow at first, careful, testing, but then it deepened. His hand slid to the back of my neck. My fingers curled into the fabric of his shirt. It wasn't love. It wasn't even lust. It was need. Raw, immediate, and reckless. He pulled me closer, and the robe slipped from my shoulders. I gasped. He kissed down my jaw, my neck, My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst through my chest. Still, I didn't stop him. His hands found my waist, slid under the silk, gripped my hips. I felt dizzy, like I was standing on the edge of something I couldn't come back from. "I should stop," he whispered. "So stop." But I didn't say it like I meant it. He heard that in my voice, in the way my body arched toward him, in the way my breath hitched every time his lips found my skin. He lifted me effortlessly, carried me to the bed. I didn't think about Ryan. I didn't think about vows, or rings, or promises. I only thought about Jason's hands, the way he traced the curve of my spine, the way he kissed the inside of my wrist, the way he looked at me like he'd been waiting for this moment forever. We didn't speak. We just moved, together, like we already knew each other, like our bodies had been speaking long before our mouths ever did. The sheets tangled, the glasses on the nightstand rattled, the ocean outside crashed against the shore like applause, or warning, and still, I didn't stop him. After we lay side by side, the only sound in the room was our breathing, shallow, uneven. I stared at the ceiling, trying to memorize the pattern, trying to ground myself. Jason sat up, ran a hand through his hair. He didn't look at me. I wrapped the sheet around myself and sat up too. "What did we just do?" I asked. He laughed once, but it wasn't joy. It was shame, regret. "The one thing I swore I'd never do to him," he said. "You didn't do it alone." He stood, pulled on his shirt, buttoned it slowly. I watched him, wanting him to say something that would make it feel okay, but he didn't. He just looked at me one last time and said, "You should get dressed. He'll be here soon." Then he left. The door clicked behind him, and just like that, the silence turned into something else, something unbearable. I didn't have time to fix anything. The bedsheets were still rumpled. One of the champagne glasses was knocked over on the floor. The room smelled like sweat, like wine, like something I couldn't name. I sat there, wrapped in a sheet, heart still pounding, mind racing in 1,000 directions. Guilt hadn't fully arrived yet, but it was on its way. And then the door opened. Ryan, his tie was gone, hair slightly messy, cheeks pink from too much wine and too much smiling. "Hey," he said, eyes lighting up when he saw me. "There's my wife." My stomach flipped. He didn't notice the glass on the floor, didn't notice the tension in the air, or the heat still clinging to my skin. He walked over and kissed me, soft, familiar, warm, and my whole body went stiff. "You okay?" he asked, brushing my hair from my face. I nodded. Too quickly. He smiled again. "Everyone finally stopped pulling me in 10 directions. I'm all yours now." I wanted to disappear. He pulled his shirt off, undid his belt, and I just sat there, watching the man I married, the man I promised forever to, undress in front of me with trust in his eyes, trust I didn't deserve. He climbed into bed beside me, wrapped his arms around me. His hands felt different than Jason's. Gentler, softer, lighter. He smelled like cologne and champagne and joy, not lust, not sin. And when he kissed me again, I tried so hard to respond, to feel what I was supposed to feel, but all I felt was cold. When we made love that night, our wedding night, I kept my eyes closed the entire time. I didn't moan. I didn't move. I just let it happen. Let him love me, while I floated somewhere above my body, watching a girl I barely recognized lie beside a man she didn't deserve. He held me afterward, whispered how happy he was, how lucky, and I bit my lips so hard it bled, just to keep from sobbing. In the morning, he made coffee. He danced around the suite with a stupid grin on his face, still humming the melody from our first dance. I stayed in bed, pulled the sheet tighter around my body, my skin still buzzing from the night before. From both nights, really. He handed me a mug and kissed the top of my head. "I can't believe you're my wife," he whispered. I smiled, the kind of smile that hurts your face. He went to shower, and I sat there, staring at the ring on my finger, wondering what the hell I had done. Downstairs, Jason avoided me. He was helping pack up the decorations, talking to guests, acting like everything was normal. But when our eyes met, even for a second, it was all there. The tension, the heat, the shame, and something else. Something that scared me more than all of it. We didn't speak after the wedding. Jason stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped showing up. It was like he disappeared into the air, taking all the tension, all the heat, all the unspoken things with him. And I let him, because I had to. Ryan and I moved into a new apartment closer to his job. We bought furniture, hung photos, talked about dogs, babies, retirement. We had date nights. We posted smiling photos. People said we looked happy. Maybe we did. But I wasn't. Something inside me had shifted, broken. Or maybe it had always been broken. And that night with Jason just showed me where the cracks were. I tried to bury it. Tried to be the perfect wife. I cooked. I cleaned. I kissed him goodnight. But I never stopped thinking about that night. Not the way Jason touched me, though I remembered that too, but the way I let him, the way I leaned into it, the way I wanted it, and hated myself for it. Years passed. I never told a soul, not my mother, not my best friend, not even in a drunken whisper to a stranger. It became my private punishment, a silent movie playing in the background of my life, until one day he came back. It was at a mutual friend's baby shower. Ryan was out of town. I almost didn't go, but something made me. I walked in wearing a pale blue dress, hair curled, smile in place, and there he was, Jason, older, wider shoulders, lines around his eyes, but still him, still the man who made my stomach clench with one look. We locked eyes from across the room, and the world went quiet. He walked over slowly. "Hey," he said, voice lower than I remembered. "Hey." We stood there, awkward, nervous, charged. He rubbed the back of his neck. "I didn't think you'd be here." "Neither did I." Silence. And then, "You look good," he said. "So do you." Another silence. Then, softly, "I think about that night more than I should." I exhaled. "Me too." We stood like that, not touching, not daring, just two people wrapped in memories they weren't supposed to have. He tilted his head. "You ever tell him?" I shook mine. "Do you regret it?" he asked. I looked away. Yes and no. He asked if I regretted it, and I told him the truth. Yes and no. Because how do you regret something that made you feel alive, even if it destroyed a part of you? We sat on the patio outside the baby shower, plastic balloons and tiny cupcakes all around us, people laughing inside, and us, two ghosts from a night no one else remembered. He looked at me, really looked at me. "I never forgave myself," he said. "I didn't either." He nodded. "We were selfish. We were stupid." Another long silence. Then he reached across the table and placed his hand over mine. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't sexual. It was broken, like us. "I still think about you," he whispered. "I don't know what to do with that." "You don't have to do anything." I pulled my hand back gently. "I have a life now. A home. A husband who still brings me coffee in bed." Jason looked down. "I know, and I'm not here to ruin that. I just needed you to know I remember." I stood up, brushed the wrinkles from my dress. "I remember too, every day." He looked up at me. "Do you still love him?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes." Then I walked away. That night, I lay next to Ryan. He was asleep, breathing softly, one arm draped across my waist. I looked at him, at his face, at the man who gave me everything, the man who never knew what I'd done, and maybe never would. I thought about telling him once, twice, but the words never came. Instead, I buried the truth somewhere deep, between the vows and the lies, between the sheets and the silence. Because some mistakes don't ask for forgiveness, they ask for remembering, and I do. Every time he says, "I love you," every time he smiles, every time he holds me. I'm Alyssa, and this was my wedding night. The night I became a wife, and the night I betrayed everything I promised to be. This was my true infidelity story.